The first noble truth is the truth of suffering. It's usually translated as how our life is difficult, and how that is, it's a noble truth. So it's simply the nature of our life that there will be difficulty. And the word dukkha itself, that is a Sanskrit word that is, it means a little something more precise maybe than suffering as we usually think about it anyway, as I usually think about it. It refers to, etymologically, what it means is like a wheel, when a wheel is being planed to go around, and it's a wheel that's just a little bit off. So it's a maybe disequilibrium or something is a little bit more precise word than suffering. You know, our life is always just a little bit off. So it's like between birth and death. I'm reminded of how airplanes are almost always off course. You know, flying from Minneapolis, well, flying from Detroit to Chicago and then to Minneapolis. They're like 95% or 98% of the time off course. So that's what that suffering means. It's not like something bad that, it's not something bad. It's just a description of what our life is. Always just a little bit off course. And there's almost always this sense deep in the heart that our life is a little off course. And it's not only our individual lives, of course, it's also our collective life in our world. And that's particularly, I think, the case, and particularly salient these days, where we are in a very delicate position, it seems, and so many people experiencing that in their individual lives with, you know, big problems, unemployment and housing, and also even people that are able to keep jobs, really being squeezed with the rapid rise in health costs and etc. And so looking forward for our children, it's hard to see for many of us. It's hard to see how our children in the next generation are, how they're going to be okay. I met a man a couple of weeks ago in Chicago who had been a chiropractor for 30 years, you know, so many adjustments, many adjustments. And he told me that for 30 years he'd been working in a poor neighborhood in Chicago, working with many of the same people that I see in my work with teenagers that are in trouble, that when, you know, they take off their shirt for an adjustment, a knife wound or a gunshot wound is not at all uncommon. It's common, it's uncommon in some communities in our world for people, for men especially, to live into their late 20s without some kind of wounds. But he said for his whole life he was trying to be as frugal as possible and saving as much money as possible because he wanted to retire. And his father had died recently, and he asked his father just before he died what, if anything, he would do differently. And his father said, I would enjoy my life more. That's what I'd do. I'd do less of the things that I thought I had to, and I'd just enjoy my life more. His father loved sailing, but hardly ever went sailing because he had so many obligations that he felt he had to take care of. I've heard that from others too, and that same kind of theme. Almost no one before their death says, oh, I wish I'd worked that Sunday afternoon, you know? Not that you shouldn't go to work this Sunday afternoon, but or you know, whatever else. I wish I had, you know, really had a clean garage. Or if only I'd topped 300 friends on Facebook. Or 500 or however many. I don't quite get the Facebook thing. So our life, and Oh, did I finish my story about this man? No. So his father, but then he also, this chiropractor, so he'd been saving all these years, and then he had invested his money in commercial real estate, almost all of it, and lost almost everything. So here he was in his late 50s now with almost nothing. And I asked him, so what are you going to do? And he said, well, it's easy. I'm too old to start saving again. So I'm just going to do what my dad said. I'm just going to keep my practice going just enough to survive and do the things that are important and that I enjoy in life. And he was studying with Joshin in Chicago. That was one of the priorities for him, was to devote his energy to Dharma practice with this, with what's left of this fleeting and very unpredictable life. So that's the first truth, that as we're flying from birth to death, our airplane's always a little bit off course. This is the truth of suffering, or dukkha. And the second truth is the truth of the cause. The four truths are lined up so that there's an effect and then a cause and then an effect and then a cause. Right away it's like counterintuitive, right? Because usually we think cause, effect, but the four truths are suffering and then it's cause, and then cessation and then the cause of the cessation of suffering. So the cause of suffering is the second truth. I told the Dharma students in a little meeting that we were having yesterday about how Katagiri Roshi would describe or talk about the cause of suffering. Katagiri Roshi, my teacher, he would say that the cause of suffering is that everyone has a crooked belly button. And so that's our birthright. We're born, and everyone, innies, outies, no matter how skilled the home birth or the obstetrician was, the belly button is a little crooked. And so that belly button, of course, is right at our center, physiologically and energetically. It's very close to our center in terms of how we practice Zen. In most of us, though, our center is up here. So part of our work in the Dharma is to discover our originally open heart and our original center, which is very close to this crooked belly button. So our center is crooked. And so because our center is crooked, we're always a little bit off. That's the way it is. And just like the belly button, try now to make your belly button straight. Can you make your belly button straight? I don't think so. I can't do anything. Less and less with my belly button as my middle-aged belly develops and changes my belly button. It changes it, but it doesn't make it any straighter. So the Buddha, though, said that we suffer because we grab for that which we don't have, and we push away that which we do have. And when we're not engaged in that kind of game of grabbing for what we don't have and pushing away for what we do have, we go numb. And that's ignorance. So the state of being kind of a blank, which is sometimes confused in Buddhist circles for equanimity. But it's not equanimity. Being numb is not equanimous. Equanimous is a joyful state of mind. And being numb is just, it's being numb. Certainly the Buddha Dharma has not survived for 2,500 years because it encouraged people to go numb. Such a system would die very quickly. So that's the second truth, the truth of our crooked belly button.